today's lesson will be on developing single lines with a finger style approach, like using a thumb pick and your fingers, etc. You get the idea. So guys like Brent Mason, Scotty Moore, Chet Atkins, Doyle Dykes, I probably should have said Chet Atkins first, he's kind of the grandfather of that stuff. He is the grandfather of that stuff. Before we get into the lesson, I quickly want to mention the Patreon. I will put up a transcription just of the fundamental things I've utilized to do this lesson. Okay, so it won't be licks or anything crazy like that. Just a little guide on what we're going to work through today. And also I want to mention David Adassi and Timo Hakila. Okay, David Adassi is a new member. Timo Hakila, I did not pronounce his name even remotely correctly. I probably still didn't today, but at least it's how it's phonetically spelled from my point of view. Anyway, moving on with the lesson. Oh, and quickly, if you do join the Patreon, you could win that pedal. Okay, I'm going to do that as a giveaway this month. I like to reward somebody or everyone with the potential of winning something, so that's what it's going to be. Anyway, getting on to the lesson, I'll bring the camera forward and let's get into it. And just before I begin, check out my Homemade Space Machine album. Sorry, I know, another shameless plug, but I use so many of these techniques in that, and it's sort of like a rockabilly album set in 2050, set in the future, with effects and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, the main thing is you'll hear this kind of stuff going on quite a lot. So the first thing we're going to do today is I'm going to teach you the thumb and index finger method of picking. So it's kind of like alternate picking, but we're not using a pick. Of course, you can just grab the pick and alternate pick like that, but it's a slightly different feel and approach to do this. So what we're going to do, we're just going to use a pentatonic scale. Okay. Okay, so just a good old-fashioned pentatonic scale. You can actually look at that video on my YouTube channel on pentatonics. So this is shape 1, but the main thing here is that we start with the thumb and we just go to the index finger and we move across like that. It's just 2 notes per string at this point, so you're literally just going to be going thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, index. So you might start again. You might practice that. Notice I didn't start again on the 8th fret there. It meant the whole pattern on the way back was reversed. And we can also practice from up here with starting with the index finger. Okay, so that's a really fundamental beginning to your ability to improvise with a thumb pick. You've now developed more of an ability to alternate pick than if you before were all down picking with the thumb. And it also means you don't have to grab the thumb pick, which can be a little bit stiff, I find, because you don't have the ability to relax the grip of the pick when you... It's kind of a different tone to when you're actually using a pick, and then... But that's a different tone again as well. It's kind of got a nice snappy quality. Okay, so then if you were going to take a lick that uses legato stuff, like that for example, you would spend a bit of time maybe mapping out how you want to alternate your thumb and finger with whatever's comfortable. But just like when you use the pick and you'd switch between a down and an up to achieve the speed between strings or between 2 notes, you just use the thumb and the index. So that's the first step there, is just practicing anything and everything using that. You might even use this chromatic pattern, which I cover in my technique video, the technique, the theory for rockabilly and psychobilly, improve your technique video. Okay, that's not one I practice a heck of a lot, to be honest. I actually spend more time practicing the next one, which is the 3-finger approach, just because it's so challenging, but also so awesome when you connect it all together. All of these exercises I would practice with a metronome, by the way. I don't have one in front of me, but I'll give you some examples in a moment. I'll just click with my mouth, which will be annoying, but you'll survive. Okay. Now what I want you to do, let's just take an A major scale. Or even an A mixolydian. Actually, today we'll do an A mixolydian, just for something different. So we're going to go 5, 7, change string, 4, 5, 7, next string, 4, 5, 7, next string, 4, 6, 7, next string, 5, 7, 8, next string, 5. So that's... Okay, an A mixolydian. Oh. Okay, now what we do here, Chet Atkins, whenever I've seen him do this run, he'd start with his index finger. Okay, don't ask me why. I guess that's what he found comfortable. And then from here, we are going to lock in a pattern where we go index, thumb, middle, index, thumb, middle. No matter what happens, no matter how the strings change, keep this rolling. So index, thumb, middle, index, thumb, middle, index, thumb, middle, index, thumb, middle, index, thumb, middle. Okay. And now if we didn't stop, index, thumb, middle, 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 index, thumb. Did I play the flat third then? I may have. Point is, keep that rolling exactly the same no matter what. That is extremely challenging at the start. I promise you that's not easy, but have a go at it anyway. You might not find it as hard as I did. So then the other thing that you could start practicing as well is do chromatic patterns where you, so we're doing 4 notes per string, but we're continually working this 3-note pattern, which is really challenging because the right hand pattern, you'll feel that starting again, but you'll feel like it doesn't make sense because we haven't changed string. You'll want to do this. 3 and 3, 3 with the right hand, 3 with the left hand. To break that dependence, if we actually go 1, 2, 3, 4, then change string, we're always constantly starting the pattern on the next string with a different finger in this sense. So, but I'm probably overcomplicating it for you. Just maintain that pattern and do the 4-note pattern. So thumb, middle, no, sorry. I'm starting this with my middle finger. You could start it with any. You could even index, thumb, middle, 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 index, thumb, middle. Very challenging, okay? That actually, the start of that hurt my brain because I usually would probably just start that with my second finger. Ooh. Okay, and this exercise is not so much for you playing licks and stuff like that. It's probably more to develop your coordination a little bit. I don't really practice that one much anymore, and now I'm feeling the pull on my brain from that. So you can see that one there. Once it's flowing, there's a ton of speed and fluidity there. It's quite nice. The metronome. What I want you to do if you're going to practice these with the metronome, at the very beginning, play everything on the click. Click, 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 etc. Okay, because it makes everything even. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, tick, 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 tick. Okay, very important. All right, because if you happen to play them as quavers, you're going to have that note fall in the middle, and you're not really going to know how accurately you're timing that, and you might end up with a bit wonky timing. I'm not kidding. It is a problem. It'll just make you play more solidly if you do that. Now, you could also do it as triplets. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, which actually feels quite natural. Or if I'm just putting a opposite to what I said in regards to playing on the beat, if I put a beat on either side of that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That's as triplets. Da 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 da. Hang on. Da 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 da. Yeah, there's something nice about that because you're obviously playing 3 with that, and then you could practice it in semiquavers, 1 and 2. You know, emphasizing the. And of course quavers. But at the very beginning, practice it as crotchets. That's going to help you a lot. Now that's all well and good. They're the basics that I think are the most important. Once you start practicing those and then you chuck on a backing track and you see what happens, things will happen, okay? But to give you a little bit more depth on that, let's take an F major 7 arpeggio. I don't know why F. You could do any major 7 arpeggio, but let's take an F major 7 arpeggio. Just that right there. Now, I'll be honest with you, there's a variety of ways I'll play this. There is not one specific way, but the tools are there from all those fundamental exercises. as such that I can utilize whatever I feel the need to at the time. So for example, I might use the thumb. Let's slide into the root note. Then I'm going to use the index finger there on the 7th fret. And then I might go back to the thumb. Then I might go to the index finger there on the 9th fret. So 10th fret there, 9th fret there. Now because I'm sliding into that, it gives me time to really just consider using the thumb and finger, like the 2-finger method. And I've got time to get the thumb to there. But you might also, I'd probably just bring the thumb to there like that. Index, thumb, slide up. So the whole time I've only gone like this. I haven't actually had to worry about using that 3rd finger. But I could also, so I might go, so I'm going thumb, index, 2nd, finish with the thumb. Sorry, here we go. So this is different to what we're talking about because now we're playing across the strings, but the articulation, tick, 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 has been developed from practicing those scales, okay? So you can sit down and work on your licks, and I would encourage this anyway, create licks, okay? You can't come up with licks just by improvising all the time. Sit down and make up some licks and spend the time working out how you would like to use your fingers to achieve them. So, for example, I've been coming up with this one lately. Pretty straightforward. But then I slide in here. Index, slide up. I honestly can't tell you what finger I used. I think I used the 2nd finger. Index, pinky, index again, thumb, index, slide up. Did I? Yeah, I use the 2nd finger there. I do, but it's all just that pattern. Index, 2nd finger, index, 2nd finger, index. Might use the thumb. Okay, I'm not 100% sure, to be honest, because again, I've drilled those fundamentals so much that the right hand pretty much just reacts as it needs to. Okay, so that's again, my point of this lesson was not actually to necessarily teach you licks or show you licks entirely, more talk about how those fundamentals will help you a lot in developing your own articulation and your own ideas with, you know, using a thumb pick to improvise. I'll talk about one more thing. I did use a fair bit of double stops there. I'm not going to talk about that today because it's almost starting to get into chords. Okay, that sort of stuff. Obviously, we're using 2 fingers. It is single lines, but let's stick with more strictly single lines for the moment. I want to talk about open scales. Okay, that sort of thing. I love that sort of stuff. Okay, with these you end up using very similar techniques. Okay, so if I'm practicing a C major scale, which is, and then I replace every single potential open string, every note that could potentially be an open string, it's going to sound like this. So I'm not playing the D here, I'm playing it open. And even just in that first lick, you can see the right hand, I'm playing thumb, index finger's playing the open 4th string, thumb plays the 7th, roll to the 8th, 2nd finger plays the 3rd. I actually even sometimes use the 3rd finger, but you can also start shifting your hand and just use the 2nd finger again. So I'll do that really slow. open third, playing the 7th now with the thumb, playing the 2nd string open, 10th fret with the thumb, 2nd finger, what does the second finger do? 1st finger plays the D there, and 2nd finger plays the E natural open, and then the pinky plays the 10th fret, and the thumb picks it, and then we're holding it at the same time that we play this note here, which I'm going to use my index finger for. I'm going to hammer that on. I'm going to hold these two together, and I'm going to pick that 1st string with the 2nd finger. Then you could finish with a pick or finish with your finger. Or just hammer it on like that. Okay, I do apologize. That's not a great breakdown of that because again, that's something that I saw the transcription of that in a book. It's called cross picking, and I worked on that. Well, to be honest, these scales, they're just scales. You can work them out yourself if you just know the notes and you play the open strings. So I just worked through that and did what was comfortable after probably a decade of doing those other exercises. You do want to start implementing whenever you can. Put a jam track on and... I know there's no jam track, but you get the idea. You know, practice them, jam. Practice, jam, rinse, repeat. And you do that over a period of years, and hopefully you can get to a point where you know you're happy with your ability to improvise using the fingers like that. Okay, I hope that was really helpful. Check out the Patreon. I'm basically just going to put up the Mixolydian scale. I'll put the chromatic that I used and the F major lick. I'll also put that C major open scale because that will make life a little bit easier for you. And the lick that I showed you, I'll also transcribe. So you'll have a few little exercises there to work through. But there you go. There's my lesson for now on single note picking.